Welcome to the Polymaticast, episode 17th, May 20th, 2017. Today's topic, nerd chat, or catch up, or something thereof. Hey, John, how's it going?
Pretty good. You?
Not so bad. I'm having thoughts about getting a new laptop. Not saying that the one to my right is bad. I'm getting to the point where the technology in this device is sort of aged enough where I want to start making some of those like those 5-year, 10-year changes, like change out a monitor, I want a 4K monitor, but now you need a better graphics card to drive it, little things like that. So
didn't stuff in your laptop already started failing, like the Wi-Fi thing, right?
Well, so I think that's a Windows 10 problem. Some hardware on some of the laptops, and you got to keep in mind this laptop was made in 2012, 2013. So the only kind of little things that I made changes to is I changed out the hard drive. I put an SSD in there, and boy, has that renewed the life on this laptop by like a tenfold. It's fast. It's great. The only problem is that somewhere along the lines, one of those early Windows 10 updates started doing this power option or something, and the Wi-Fi card basically gets temperamental. And it's a problem that's not going away. And I don't know if it's a physical hardware problem, but other people have said, oh, I upgraded to Windows 10, and then there's a power problem. And you hear like Linus Tech Tips saying, oh, well, we've had this problem before, and we just had to turn off the sleep mode and then kill a service. I don't know what that service is. I couldn't find it. Unless I already killed it in the past. I don't know what it is. So I solved my problem really easily. I bought a little external dongle and I plugged it in and done. And it's fine. I mean, it eats up another side port, which then makes you feel the limitation of only 3 USB ports on this laptop.
You have 3 USB ports. How wonderful that must be. I have a MacBook here in front of me, which has 1 USB-C port.
Right. Okay. So you got the new one. You can get some docks that are pretty reasonable. Yes, they're ugly to look at, but they'll extend off a whole bunch of other things.
Well, I got dongles and dongles and dongles.
Yeah,
I got a good one now, which is actually pretty nice.
There's some hubs I saw. As I was watching something last night, a guy mentioned something like TP3 hub or something like that. That's pretty reasonable. That you plug into your USB-C and it spawns off. Anyhow, so to the point that I have my wireless mouse takes up one, the wireless takes up another, and then obviously the third one is being utilized by dumping off the board right now. So anyhow, that's it.
So you're not going to build a PC?
I don't know. No. I thought about a long time ago. I had a tower here. And then I moved back onto a micro PC because I needed to do some editing and I didn't have the money for it. And I had a home theater PC I was not using. It was just sitting there collecting dust. And I moved on to this little hockey puck thing. And it became my main desktop. And it was fast enough. It has an mSATA in there. It's an SSD and it's just tiny little device. And then I don't know. I just kind of enjoyed having a smaller footprint, and so that's kind of what I did, and it reconditioned my thinking a little bit. Is what? Instead of adding more junk in your life and getting a bigger footprint and eating up space, this thing has like, even at its highest usage, it consumes like 20 watts, right?
Yeah,
so
okay,
I noticed little things like my power bills going down, little small things, noticing that, getting rid of larger, bigger hardware. So I don't know. So I'm not gravitating towards that idea. I think I'm going to buy an Ultrabook.
I hadn't used any Windows PCs in years.
Yeah.
Because I switched everything to Mac. But I didn't play any games either, so...
Right.
Then I started playing more games when I got a... actually, I started playing Minecraft a lot, and I was playing that on a Mac. I started recording that, putting that on YouTube, and then I decided to go for getting a laptop, a small... Core i3 laptop. And eventually I thought maybe I should just build a new PC, because I hadn't built a PC in like 6-7 years.
Right.
And I did that, and I built another one last December as well for my artwork stuff. And I really like having all the options, and it's so easy now. It used to be you had to, get everything right. Every single piece had to fit with everything.
Yeah.
Now it just all works together.
No, it
right?
used to be
The only thing you need to take care of is that you get the right memory for the right board and the right board for the right processor. And as soon as you got those, that works. It works.
I used to build them long ago. So the first PC I had, I built that. I bought the case, I bought the processor, I bought the board, I bought the memory, and the IDE drives, and so stuff like that was it was a lot different. There were more mom and pop PC shops, so you could go in and get whatever it is you need. You didn't really have sort of the fantastic system we have today, which is you go to Amazon and look through a bazillion different makers, whether they're like your national country made or they came from America or just coming out of China. So we didn't have you could choose, right? And then you could do some research and figure out what the best thing was and then, just kind of order it and be done with it. But no, back then you had to go into a place.
Yeah. And then they didn't have it.
Tiger Direct was the only kind of place where you could order. Newegg eventually showed up. Newegg originally wasn't. It's known for what it is today, but it was not. They used to have stores. They were a store line, and they got out of the business. They closed all their stores out, and they just totally switched over to online business. And they weren't even originally that hardcore like PC business originally. So yeah, I mean, different time. Obviously, as I was commenting to you before we started, I remember I would go in to just swap out a drive or remove a cable around or something, and you come back out with your hand lacerated. So today, your sort of your SATA cables that are just all one little cord and these flat ribbons and stuff like that. No, they used to not be like that. I'm glad that there's sort of this vanity to put RGB lighting and make you inside of your PC really pretty because it forces that sort of part industry to get better, do some better job at making it easier and making it nice and pretty and not ugly. Because you'd open up
even harder to get a case without a window now.
I don't like
the window.
To me, I wouldn't want to pay extra for it because you know what? I would do exactly what I did here. I'd stick it up against the wall in a corner underneath the desk. You know what I mean? It's not it's not an art show for me. Why would I want to be staring at my PC?
And also, if it's on and it's on a desk somewhere, it's producing sound. So for me and for you, probably it's not a good idea to have it on with,
Yeah.
I swapped out. When I started with this thing, I had a couple of fans in there that were, not the most expensive. And I eventually swapped them out for those. Linus Tech Tips is a very big fan of those Noctua fans.
Yeah.
The brown ones. They're ugly, but they work and they're very silent, and I really like that. It was hard for me to find something that was cheaper that did the same thing. So
I don't know because I don't keep. I'm not interested in them really, but there used to be a lot of computer trade shows. So that was another place, like another source where you would go to these trade shows, which are basically big dealers markets for PC parts. So
we used to have those too, but they just disappeared.
Yeah, and then you'd walk through, and I would walk through these things, and I was like, "Oh, look at that fan, man! Look at that heatsink!" And
they had a thing here called the HCC Holland Computer Club days. It was like a weekend starting on Friday, where they had like one of the biggest hall complexes in the Netherlands, and they filled it up completely with like different. It's kind of like RE3 or something like that, but there were like little markets of people selling, their knockoff adult DVDs and stuff as well.
Yeah. So, there's that stuff too.
Yeah. CDs ripped from BBSs. Best of the best. BBS.
I remember things like that. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it's like a totally different thing today. You watch things like Linus Tech Tips and whatever, and you can totally see how easy it is to do that today. But My interest is to sort of minimize instead of having more things with more footprint that take up more surface area, and you don't think about it, but when you have one PC that's got a 600, 700 watt power supply, you don't think much about it. But then when eventually over time you have 3 or 4 of those and you're only using one, and maybe then you start, it starts, like grouping up and gaining on your power bill, and then zap.
Well, you have to
So
realize that the power supply is not drawing 600 watts
not all the time,
all the
no.
time, right? It's only on when it's actually drawing all that power.
Yeah, well,
Otherwise, it's just maybe 60, 100,
yeah, but
when it's
usually
not being utilized that much,
what I
right?
would
So,
do is I would end up when I had more systems that I would use, especially in the old house. I literally had a room that was sort of like in the part of the basement that was sort of generally just sort of walled off. I had systems on sitting there doing video rendering all the time. So
oh
when you
yeah,
get
those
involved in the contests and stuff like that, like they'd be on for weeks on end, just rendering MPEG stuff or rendering, like MPEG 4 stuff, and the boy does that just, and so your wattage goes, and it's just crazy. So I don't know. For me, I think we're like on that opposite end. You're more interested in going from your light book minimal world, and you know,
No, I understand where you're coming from because I
yeah,
used to use a Mac Mini for a
hmm
very long time, a smart PC.
yeah,
I just realized that as soon as you try to do something more, try to swap out a processor, which is not possible in those things,
yeah.
right? You're going to run into trouble. And getting an upgrade is going to cost you much, much more if you want to swap out the entire thing,
Right.
right? So if you got a PC, you can at least upgrade it for a couple of years
Yeah,
with like the
sure.
parts, and you don't have to make it like a huge machine, right? Because there's Pico ATX, which is like a very tiny board. It's like about the size of a outstretched hand. Kind of depends on the size of your hands, right? But um, let's see, like 20 centimeters across or something. So that's you can do that, and then you can get a small case for it, and that saves you a lot of space.
Right, yeah.
And it's not that much bigger than a normal than one of those Nux, but it's a lot more expandable. So if you want to get like 32 gigs of memory in it, you can do that. If you want to get more, you can do that.
Right, yeah. The one that I bought, when did I buy that? I had to buy, I think, back in 2013, I want to say. Maybe even 14. The one I have is a gigabyte bricks with double X on it. And it was a bare bones, and then I put like an
That sounds like a
i5.
not very reliable thing.
It doesn't, but I did my little research, and it turns out that this thing is fantastic. But it was just a bare bones, so it's got. I want to say I put 16 in there. I might be wrong. I think it maxes out at 16. I've just put 8 in to start with, and then eventually I did upgrade to a 1 terabyte SSD drive on it. But I mean, I didn't need much, and for me, I don't game that much. That's not my disposition. So what I do is editing. I do a lot of editing. I mostly lately just do podcasts, so mainly audio editing. Occasionally I do video editing. And I used to do video editing in a more serious, manner in my past. So I still have those. I have those twinges where I'm gonna go run off, and I'm capable of once I get the footage, editing something together. So, for me, I kind of looked at it from that perspective, and I didn't need a graphics card that was good for gaming. So going into that minimal footprint was actually made perfect sense for me. Same thing with this laptop. It has an integrated chip. It's not
Yeah.
discrete. I mean, it's not a real graphics card. It's whatever it is, the Intel 4500 or whatever it is. And it works perfectly fine until you get into some real hardcore AAA title gaming.
Well,
And
I bought this not for like the best of the best type of gaming
right.
stuff, because I bought a 960 last year, and I just recently upgraded it to a 1060.
Yeah.
So it's not the best hardware that I put in there, but I put it what I did put in there was last year was a 6900K, 6700K, and I did that because I wanted to do video editing, and I knew that that processor was very good for really rapidly outputting rendered video. And because I had also a relatively okay video card in there, I could do some After Effects stuff that would render pretty fast. And that's why I built this, because I wanted something to do that with. And if you're going to do video editing, you don't want to do it on one of those integrated type things, because it's going to slow you down a lot.
Yeah, no. And this fourth generation i7 laptop that I have, not even like the higher end, variation of it, perfectly fine for video editing. Perfectly fine for audio editing. My only thing, like as a developer and also as someone who, when you get to video editing or you get to compositing, let's say in After Effects, screen real estate is important. So the higher the resolution, the more I have a workspace, the more I can make the window big enough for me to feel happy and comfortable with, instead of making it like 1/4 its size, and have still room on the timeline and work in one place. Having a higher res monitor is also kind of important. So I have two monitors behind me here. And the thing is, when I moved in here, my disposition started to change. I used to run my video timeline across two monitors. And now I just feel like I don't need 50 inches worth of monitor anymore. I literally put like Winamp and some folders on the other monitor when I'm doing editing, and then I drag and drop from the other side. And it's, it seems like it's a wasted monitor. So part of my future upgrade effort when I was starting the rant was I want to go into a 4K monitor, and I want a device that has enough throughput so that I don't have to buy super high-end something, so that I can just, I want that little bit more minimal idea of a 4K monitor that literally I can just tap in USB-C and get my monitor, and then, sort of spawn off some hubs off of the monitor. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm looking to kind of reduce, I don't know, like the general physical pollution that I have sort of around me. Because, you get in the habit, you just stack, it's your usable workspace, and then you don't really spend a lot of time. I mean, I'm looking at the sort of the studio, and it's a mess because once I go past where I'm sitting, it starts to be where everyone sits, and you can see all the crap they just leave around. And even though you clean it up, you take it away, they just put it back. So, I have generally some long-term goals as to kind of minimize. And so for me, going into a full tower, I used to do that a lot. I'm just not going to do that anymore. But I hear the argument which you made earlier, which is that, well, it was just easy for me to upgrade. Well, yeah, that's really true in that 3-year window. But once you're past that 3-year window, now
in 3 years you're going to sell it.
Right. If you're going to sell it, okay. So then, but you got to get rid of your motherboard, and you got to, and so, so that was the other problem, is it was easy to swap out and change video cards when I used to build PCs. But I never had the most popular graphics card. I always had a Matrox, which had dual head on it, which was basically what all the graphics cards do today, which allow you to have multiple outputs on it. Yeah. So back in the 2000s, you had a Matrox, and it had two video VGAs or DVIs out on it. And those were, $600 cards, back then. And that's what I had. I had Matroxes because I was doing video editing,
Those small devices, how do you manage your storage in those? Because if I want to put a giant 5 terabyte, 6 terabyte hard drive in there, I can do that in my machine. Right? It's going to make some noise, but hey, at least I can do all the storage inside that machine. But for those tiny things, you're going to hook everything up to USB or something?
So if you, like back in the day, or are you talking today with the little guy?
What are you doing now? You're doing all the editing for the OG podcast and stuff.
Yeah. So
where do you keep all your data?
So most of the data is I do what I used to do when I was doing heavy video editing. You'd have sort of your premium gear off onto the side. So what I have for most of definitely the podcast editing, it's mostly audio. So the footprint is only several gigs, per show for a couple hours. I have plenty of room to breathe in the 100, but not the 100, the 1 terabyte internal. And then I have a 1 or 2, maybe I think it might be a 3 terabyte external. And so what I do is I do my work, and then occasionally I go, oh, I only have half a terabyte free. Okay, and I copy project files off onto the external hard drive.
Yeah.
The SSD makes it so that I don't need high speed stuff. I put in a high speed, Samsung Evo, and it's the read write rates on it are fantastic. And I don't have to worry about, which I used to, which is kind of managing or negotiating, long term projects on high speed, drives. I don't have to do that anymore. I can just move it off. And in terms of general storage, the external drives are great. They're perfect. Whether they're actually, they're non-SSDs or not. And you can buy $130 US dollars, something like that, well under $200, $150. You can buy 1 or 2 terabyte drives. If you really want to pay a premium cost, you can find 4 terabyte SSD drives from Samsung.
Yeah, they're too expensive.
Yeah, I mean they're $800, but I mean if you want, and I just say that in jest. I don't even know what the number is without looking it up. So I mean you could totally do it, and when the SSDs from 10 years ago are not the SSDs that we were running with today. They're reliable like normal drives. The only difference is price. When you get down to it, price cost.
Yeah. The 4 terabyte is €1,539.
Yeah, I mean it's wow. Crazy high, and if you really are that serious, you gotta have that in a small footprint. Then I'm sure that you have a profession where that's like chump change, right? So if you're a professional film editor, but what I've also heard a lot of people like you get Devin Graham from Supertramp, other people like that have all said, and I totally agree with them. They just buy a ton of those terabyte drives, and they buy 2 or 4 or whatever it is, and they pay. They have a business where it makes sense for them to spend that money, and so they just go ahead and copy stuff off twice over, and then they have their backup, and then they have multiple people carry them, and then they got their gear in the field until they get it back, and then they put it on a much bigger RAID array, right? It's not a Drobo, but something of equivalent, something maybe like what you have. But their concerns are, I need to build a 50 terabyte, drive, or the storage nator, right?
Storinator, yeah. Did you see the 1 petabyte thing that the Linus Tech Tips did?
No, but also keep in mind, I'm dealing with audio. My
Dude.
footprint on this stuff isn't like a 4K, 8K videos, right? I don't have red cameras. You know what I mean? So my storage size is so minimal by comparison.
Even if you're just doing gameplay video, like if you're doing like Minecraft stuff, that takes up a lot of space. Mm-hmm. I did 18 hours, and that's like 150 gigs. At least that's audio and video.
Well, okay. So what you did is you did it all in one shot, and then you basically edit and chunk it out like it was just a thing you did for 20 minutes, and then you were done.
No.
Now, I mean, through the magic of it, I know that you played on one weekend, and you're cutting up something you did 3 months ago, for the rest of the year.
Well, yeah, but if you're looking at the hardcore mode thing, that's about 20 minutes for every episode, and then I just stop at every 20 minutes and then just save the files. Actually, I don't save the files. I just play the next
and
20
then
minutes.
You cut it up.
I take one day in Minecraft. But for the new series I was working on that I'm restarting because there were some problems there, I just went and played, but the amount of storage it took up. It's like 18 hours, 150 at least.
Yeah.
I moved it all up to a separate disk because, one, I'm not going to use the footage, but two,
Right.
it was, it was just too much,
So-
too much. And that's only at 1080, right? It's only at 1080. And I can't really do 4K because the video recorder doesn't do 4K. So I can't
Right.
get a 4K monitor because that doesn't work. Oh well.
Well, you could get a 4K monitor, and then you would have more real estate. And I that was part of my.
But I still had to play at 1080 because I
that's
can't
fine.
record it
But
otherwise.
when you're in Premiere, your view on your 1080 project on
Yeah.
a 4K monitor would be full screen res. So if you're doing any titling or anything like that, you don't have to
Yeah.
kind of move and scroll. You can see it full screen, and that's only a quad. It's only
Yeah,
one
I know.
fourth, and you have plenty of timeline, and that stuff works out great. That's a perfect layout. Yeah, I used to do stuff like that when I would have my timeline across two monitors, right? I've been living in sort of a 2K zone times two forever, but the thing is, your neck starts to hurt because you move over here, you move over there, and move over here, and you move over there, and I used to do that a ton. And then when I stopped doing that, I was like, oh, this is so much easier to look at one monitor. Uh, I don't know. My effort for that is to jam everything into one monitor that's high enough resolution for most of my needs. And then
Yeah.
I have plenty of 2K monitors, so if I want to, keep extending it, I can do that. And I just want to have graphics power that on the go, whether it's in a desktop device or a laptop device, has that capability built in. So I know those are like real high concerns for me, along with memory, because as well as I do, when you get in After Effects, it's very memory heavy. And I can't tell you how many times where I've been programming along and I have like multiple projects and I have VMs running, and then like I'm out of RAM.
Yeah. Well, I kind of just at some point I maybe just buy a new monitor, but they're expensive too. So
Yeah, well, there's an LG one that's pretty nice. I mean, at this point, it's outdated because it's over a year old. But I saw it on
that
Amazon
doesn't
for
matter
like
as long as the
700.
refresh rate is good enough.
Hmm?
That doesn't matter as long as the refresh rate is good
Yeah,
enough.
and the refresh rate I think was high enough. So I was looking at it, and it wasn't curved because I don't think I have a need for curve, really, to be honest. And I don't need to pay that extra $300-400 for the premium on it. So with that said, that monitor is like $700, and I need the technology to drive it. So first, I need to resolve the technology, and once I do that, then I'll have that capability. So right now, I mean, I have a device sitting here, and if I put a 4K monitor in, well, I need a device that does 4K.
You might get angry with me, but if you were to get a Mac, I think you'd be done. They have the stuff that can drive the 4K monitors.
Yeah,
The
but
5K
see,
even.
I'm just no.
Yeah, you're
I
looking-
don't live
you're
in a
cringing
universe
already.
where I care about Mac. That's the thing. It is nothing to do with. Yes, I could put Windows 10 on a Mac, but and you're right. What I'm considering to buy in terms of a laptop, I'm going to be paying a premium. That's right. That's very true. But I am conditioned at this point that my professional effort, my professional world, and my personal world live in Windows.
Yeah.
I have more flexibility with stuff. It used to be more of a real argument. It's less of one today, because they're almost synonymous. They used to not be, right? As well as I do. You go back 10 years, there was definitely Windows World. You had so much more capability in a lot of areas that you couldn't do in Mac, and now that they're blending pretty almost ubiquitously. So it's almost a non-issue in terms of the platform aside from preference.
When do you think you're going to buy whatever you're going to buy?
I have more than most of it, and I literally could just drop the money right now and go spend it, but I want to wait probably, I don't know, somewhere in June, I think.
Yeah. Maybe
my-
wait a little bit longer because Apple is going to release some new devices.
Yeah,
Might
but
be- might
you
be
think
interesting.
you think I'm gonna, it's like, oh well, I'll get a Mac. I won't.
No,
That will not be on my buying options.
no, but
Uh,
that's also the kind of the period where um, lots of different manufacturers are going to release their stuff because
yeah.
Apple is releasing stuff. So
Oh
you
yeah,
might be
that's
able to
true.
get
Yeah.
some stuff cheaper
I
because
have that
they're
thought, but usually what ends up happening is they announce what they're going to do, and they don't do it until near Thanksgiving, right? And then you can't get it till Thanksgiving. And so I'm not really suffering anymore with this laptop. I've had my moments. I've fixed those moments. I like to put more RAM in this thing. I could easily just go buy it. It doesn't cost that much. But then I got to take apart my laptop, and putting the keyboard back on is always such a, like, the connector is so tiny, and you're not even sure it's connected, and then you put everything back together, and then you find out, oh, I didn't do it right. I did it right. I did it right once. And so I don't want to take apart my laptop again to put an extra 8 gigs in.
hmm.
You know, so
Well, usually those laptops have it on the bottom side. You can just flip it over and
right,
take
and
out the
this is
thing, and then
the laptop I have didn't do that. This was like under
oh,
the keyboard BS, and so
oh,
that's the other thing is when I'm looking at the laptops, I want one where they thought about this, right? They
yeah,
didn't do that BS sandwich, ice cream sandwich thing. Like I hate that. And so what I'm looking at is right now I'm looking at the Dell
hmm.
9560.
No.
It doesn't have a 1060. I was looking at the Razer Blade. I really like the idea of it, but it's just they soldered on the 16 gigs, and that bothers the hell out of me.
Yeah, that's
Um,
annoying.
and I really do actually like the 15.6 inch
Then
monitor.
again, 16 gigs of memory. 8 gigs has been good enough for a very long time. 16 gigs is what I have in my PC right now. I don't see anything hitting anywhere close to it. So,
Right.
mm,
Well, so at work, I can definitely tell you 8 gigs is suffering.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. I
yeah,
get that.
and so if I want to encourage that, part of my sort of discouragement of doing things
Yeah,
like when I've been doing dev work is I'll start running some servers, and then I'm running a bunch of solutions, and then
yeah.
everything is like killing my 8 gigs. And if I want to run something in a VM, I don't have the resources for it.
That's why I have
Um,
multiple machines for this because I have like a
right.
machine for like development. I have a machine for
hmm
my stuff, my you know
And so I
other
think I think
things.
that's what's going to happen is the machine that like you and I are talking on Skype is the only tower in the house, and it was like a cheaply bought, you know, store bought $600 something rolled into into the micro center. It said I bought something, and it was perfect for my needs, which is exactly what I use it for,
Yeah.
and it will stay there and will do that. And the only upgrades I had to make on it is I upgraded the hard drive, and I put Windows 10 on it. And that's it. That's about the extent of it. I took it from Windows 7, maybe even Vista. I took it into Windows 8, and I took it to 10.
Hmm.
And for me, it works just fine, and I use it once a week, maybe 2 times a week, at best. So
Yeah.
it's going to stay where it is as its destination, and maybe that mini one, right, that little guy. I probably could leave him on all day, but I'm probably not going to. But I could use that one as a web server, right? I could re-outfit it and set up, the web server on it the way I want, and make that a machine I turn on every once in a while.
Hmm.
And then that way I don't have to have the server locally, right? But I'm also okay with doing that on a laptop, and I just want RAM.
Hmm.
RAM is important. Drive space is important. Drive speed's important. Processor speed is mostly important. I'm not going to look at anything less than an i7. So
Did you or any of your friends or family get hit by the WannaCryptor thing?
not that I know of, but my mother doesn't turn. My mother is, one computer in one house, right? She's on a network, and I secured up her network for her.
Yeah.
So it's not like she's gonna, my mother gets web junk, right?
Yeah.
Is my mother likely to get a hit probably from her own bad habits? But in the same respect, she's only going to be spreading it on to herself.
Yeah.
There's nowhere for it to leak. So, I mean,
Doesn't
that's
your room dude also have like a Windows machine?
he does. He has a more recent one. He's got a
Yeah,
Windows 10 one. And
that's like
I
the worst
every
nightmare
once in
of
a
some.
while he turns on his system and I yell at him and say, "Make sure you update." So, I've also predominantly taken off all the primary systems off of the network that his system is on.
Yeah,
So he's on in the house. He's on an isolated network from the rest of my gear. Um, it was just because I bought a new router and it couldn't take over all the ACLs, the same one as the old one, and so I just moved my stuff onto it and most of the house stuff onto it. So he's living on an own isolated Wi-Fi network. And
well, I think that if you have no way to control everything in your house network, that's like the worst. If something like this gets in,
yeah, I did turn on the Goleys last night, and I made sure that they upgrade in preparation of if we ever play Artemis.
so
Um,
oh yeah, you bringing people in, and they're going to be on your
yeah,
network.
but those guys from the podcast are typically the ones who are in. Yeah, that's true. And then yes, there are a couple people that we bring in from the outside, but they don't get onto the house network. They get onto an isolated Wi-Fi
Guest,
network
yeah,
for just and we actually wire them in on a LAN, and it's just on, to the Artemis stuff. So all my stuff is patched. Um, right, and
yeah,
even then, if they hit the goalie, okay, well, I'll fucking just kill the BIOS and just wipe it out. There's nothing
yeah.
really important on it.
I had a problem with one of my machines where I couldn't get it to update. Turned out there was a problem with the Windows Update file itself.
Mm-hmm.
One of the files, it was like stuck in a loop. It couldn't update one of the updates. I had to download a tool from Microsoft that does this. So I'm kind of worried as to why it isn't in like the update system itself, right? If you have something that there's a problem with your update system, maybe it should be in there to fix it. But hey, I had to download it. Eventually, it did work, but it was like a long night of me updating all my machines.
Yeah, so that's one thing that I learned is because I mentioned about Artemis a moment ago is that I'll turn on a bunch of these small PCs which we use for Artemis. And so what they do is they're not high end. They're like, tablet PCs with a touch screen and, an Ethernet and Wi-Fi, tacked onto it. Basically these micro PCs. So they can totally run stuff, but they're not performers, so they're very
Yeah.
slow. So when you have them all trying to eat up your internet bandwidth all at the same time, they
Mm-hmm.
just sit there like they're doing nothing. And it's
Yeah.
because they are all trying to compete for the same traffic out. So I just turn on one or two at a time and I stagger them. And if you just do it ahead of time, you're okay, right?
You don't know anybody that had got hit by this, because I
Not
still
yet.
haven't seen anybody.
Yeah, not yet.
Not even
And
my dad, who's usually
pretty bad.
the guy that gets hit by something
Yeah,
like
that's
this.
my mother. Yeah, that's my mother, and maybe occasionally my father. But even I said to somebody at work. I said, well, and this was a reference to getting a new laptop at work, which will eventually come. I said, well, I want to hold on to the old laptop in case I need it for a little bit. But at some point, most of the stuff I need is just I pull down back on from source control, and then I'm good to go, and I just have to set stuff up
Yeah.
locally. Like, that's the kind of how I live. Unless you corrupt, certain mechanisms that I have in place. If you don't corrupt those things, I'm not really at much risk, right? Oh,
Mm.
okay, I lose all that OG stuff. Okay, I mean, I was trying to be an archive for the longest time, but then I stopped doing it. I have a bunch of stuff sitting on a drive that failed, and maybe I get stuff off of it. I don't know. I'm not going to spend $5,000 to get someone to redo the platters on it just to recover it.
Ouch.
I mean, OG is not $1 million moneymaker per month, so for me, I didn't invest in that way. These are shows that have been released, are good to go. I don't really need the original material right now. It's not a big deal.
I get the digital pack rat deal, so I totally understand that.
Yeah.
I'm doing it, so.
I mean, I guess if money wasn't a problem and time wasn't a problem, yes, I would. I would rip every Blu-ray and run the video server in the house, and I was going to buy and build a thing exactly like that so that I could be without the internet and watch all my movies at a click with Plex.
Yeah.
Yes, I totally get that.
And then you never actually do it.
And I never will. I come home and I go, I want to watch some TV. Okay. Well, those 6 hours are over. I'm going to play some games. Okay. I'm going to go to sleep. Like, that's it. I'm perfectly happy with this level of activity. Sunday I'm going to podcast. Okay. You know what I mean? And so I'm just not, I don't know. For all the energy that I have, the last thing I want to do is stick a CD in and kind of manage every 10 minutes another CD and another Blu-ray.
Those guys from Tested had a system for this, right? So the only you had to do was get the put the DVD in, rip it, and then it will automatically transcode everything.
Yeah, but Will only had to spend $5,000 to set that up.
Did he?
Yeah, he had to buy average then, build an average then, higher thing, and then he had to go work out the project to figure out how we can just do that and then have it go and suck up and do what he wants and encode it the way he wants and then put it into place on his already very expensive RAID array server where it's running with Plex. And and he spent another several $1,000s, and he has spent another several $1,000s. So probably his whole setup there is probably somewhere around $8,000. So he spent $8,000 because he could, and he did. And then yes, he could totally do that. And I'm just not, for all the random gear that I have, none of this is high end. This is bought and designed and built and upgraded exactly for my purposes. So
about the encryption thing, right? So there was a piece of malware was being distributed called WannaCryptor. Some people keep calling it WannaCry.
WannaCry, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, fine. The official description I think is WannaCryptor. There is a guy that did a video. This is kind of leaning into the fun stuff thing, but it's on Polymatic.media/50. It has a description of the encryption methods that were used and why they did this setup, and it's kind of it's interesting to me at least. So I think you should go check that out. Polymatic.media/50.
Yeah. It just brings up a conversation about security. Just like when we were talking about what there's sort of floods, there's attacks from all those Wi-Fi, the Internet of Thing devices were getting attacked. You just got to be careful, and you just got to pay some attention and keep things patched. I say that not knowing if all my devices, certainly the laptop I'm staring at is good to go. And I'm pretty sure, or at least the systems that I made sure that I checked out yesterday are probably good to go. And I got one device left, right? That's probably good to go because they haven't been air gapped, but they haven't really been a part of an active ecosystem to turn on for Artemis. They're used for Artemis, and then they get their updates the day that I turn it on, every once a month kind of thing. They get all the updates, and then they get turned off, and then their power's pulled, right? And they do nothing but sit there ready for the next time we play Artemis. So,
did you see the VR bridge simulator thing that they're working on?
Yeah. What do you think about that?
Well, I haven't played Artemis,
and
I haven't seen much of this, but if it's something that it's ready to go,
I like the idea here, but it doesn't feel well adopted for me. So I would rather see the guys with Artemis make Artemis VR, right? Like Minecraft. Minecraft doesn't isn't really that you can have an integrated chip in your laptop or in your desktop and play Minecraft just fine.
Yeah.
Yes, you probably benefit from having like a real discrete graphics card, like, an NVIDIA something, even if it was a 960, let's say. You definitely benefit from having real graphics hardware, real graphics processors versus just a chip, right? So that's always going to be true. But Artemis is also not very demanding, right?
Yeah.
And we run it as the server on my really old i3 laptop, right? And it works fine. I mean, is it not like fully 2K resolution on the 2K TV? No, it's not. Is it needed? No, not really. And does it, eventually after 10 hours of play, eventually freak out and need a reboot? Yes. But it's an i3 with a physical like 4800 RPM drive that just grinds itself to a death. If I put an SSD in that thing, then it'd be fine, right? And again, the graphics card's an integrated graphics card. It's just a chip. It's not like a full discrete GPU or anything special about it. So
maybe something like with Artemis for like that new HTC thing, the new Vive standalone VR thing.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Is that the Google one that you're talking about?
Yeah. The Daydream.
The Daydream one, yeah, right, which is more in like the zone of HoloLens and stuff like that. So maybe, but I guess the major point about it is that Artemis is not very graphically demanding, and if you got the graphics hardware, you benefit. If you don't have the graphics hardware, you have fun, and it doesn't really matter. So I would rather see an Artemis VR where it doesn't require a TI or a NVIDIA Titan
that's the thing
1080 Ti or XP Founders Edition like graphics card to run one person times 6.
Well,
right?
That's the thing with the HTC thing, right? They have a device that is all in one. They have everything inside.
Yeah.
So there's no hookup to a PC. So you can have
and
5 people with those things on their heads sitting all together in the same room.
Yeah, and that's also kind of like what the HoloLens is. Even though it's still an imperfect device, it's one of its strengths is that it's completely self-contained, right? It's a device you stick on your head. If you want to output that video where you can record it and everyone else can see it, or you want to look at the analytics live, sure, you can tap onto it. Otherwise, you just walk around with the thing. So you spend several $100s for a thing instead of $2,000 or $3,000 plus an $800 thing, and then sensors all around your room, right? So, so I mean, they're still in their infancy. I think they'll get better about it. But so with regards to that, it wasn't like, oh, it's not Artemis. It's like, well, no, it's totally steeped in the whole Star Trek universe thing.
Yeah,
like I totally get that, and that's cool. And I heard little things where I wasn't paying enough attention to it because I probably watched it on my phone when I saw a video where they did little things on the displays that are supposed to be really neat. And so that's totally cool, but I'd rather see a campaign go for Artemis VR where those guys and those minds, the fans, not a business interest, but the fans, take Artemis and make it VR friendly. I can't imagine there's anything wrong with running it in VR goggles and then you just using your keyboard or mouse or whatever to, on your screen. You could do that. But, if you had a touch controller that was interfaced on it a little better, then yes, I think that would be totally much more warranted in terms of this kind of game. However, there's a whole universe of games that are like this that I know nothing about. And Artemis has been the one that is the winner for at least us as a group. So I don't know, maybe someone else has done a VR application of this kind of idea already, much better than what an Artemis VR would be. But I think Artemis got the whole gameplay or this whole setup right. And so for me, that perspective is I'd rather see those guys follow through and think about this and execute it. It's not that I'm not supportive of the Star Trek version. It's that I don't think they got it right. I think it's neat as a demo, but I don't think they got it right. And I bet you if the Artemis guys did it, they would get it more right than the professional business who was doing it.
Well, the professional business is saying, well, we need this gimmick and this gimmick and this gimmick, and then it's done. And the other guys just, they go for the gameplay. Right. They go for, what actually fits. So I get why the my Artemis is probably better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but, and I think you would totally. I think you would definitely enjoy Artemis. I think you would be an open mind for it, and you understand the sort of what the gameplay is, the aspects of it. Sort of the Star Trek nature of it, the nerd level of it. My stepbrother's not much of a nerd, and he came one time, and he's like, "Why are we doing this?" And I'm like, "Well, why are you here?" Like, why are you here? Yeah.
But, Alan, is a little bit of too existential question for a game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like like, why do I have to wait for them? I'm like, all right, well, I mean, I think there's, from a teaching aspect, I think there's a lot of power in this, and you either are on board with it or you're not. It's as simple as that. You either like Star Trek and sort of the fun of it, or you don't. Right? You totally embrace team communication, or you don't. Right? That's it. It's as simple as that. You either into it or you are solely not. Right? There's got to be one of 10 things about the game that interest you, or it just won't. Right? And if you're not interested in anything remotely close to that, then it won't appeal to you at all.
Yeah. So, do you want to go over the fun stuff?
All right. So you share the one about WannaCryptor.
Yeah.
For anyone who wants to deep dive in that, just to remind everyone, that was Polymatic.link/50. For me...
O, the letter, not the...
Yeah, O as in orange. Yeah, not as in 0. Well, all right, so if you've ever unboxed a figurine, did you watch this, John?
Yes, I did.
Did you laugh?
I felt the frustration.
Yes, I felt the frustration. And the thing is, I've never met this guy, but I know of him because he's on one of the other shows that we produce on OG. And so I totally understand him, where he was coming from. So if it looks like he was going for comedy, he wasn't. This was clearly a one-take shot, and then he's like, oh, it's funny enough, I'll put it up. So Polymatic.link/5V. If you've ever unboxed anything and you just are like completely demystified by what were they thinking when they packaged this up.
Yeah.
So Polymatic.link/5V. Unboxing is hard.
Yeah. So we're gonna get into a situation where we're gonna talk about bearings, but the little tiny balls that go into bearings, they somebody used some of them to simulate crystal lattices. Polymatic.link/5B. It sounds really boring, but it's really not. So it's just really cool how something bigger than an atom shows you how something like an atom and lots of atoms behave when they form crystals.
Yeah, what was it called? What, the Atomica or something like that?
I don't remember.
The toy that he was referring to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Polymatic.link/5P.
Okay. Fidget spinners. This is just sort of explaining kind of the history and some origin. This comes from one of those like video essays that I follow. Try not to repeat, try to give you fresh things, but I thought this was kind of to give some context about fidget spinners, and that they actually have more origin than the fad or the trend that is happening today with kids and adults and everybody. But Polymatic.link/5T, I thought it was a good little essay or little origin story on the subject of it.
There's so many fidget spinner zombies out there. It's like they're even worse than the people just looking at their phones.
Mm-hmm.
They're just playing with it all day long. Fidget spinners.
Well, I mean, I think it totally...
And then the people that try to do tricks with them.
Yeah, I've seen that.
No. Just, no. Don't do it.
I totally get... Like, I totally get why this is a sensation. Because we have, I don't know, maybe the last 20 years, we've been producing a culture that is tapped in, and every impulse has to be satisfied instantaneously. And so we have technology and devices that do that. And so when you used to have a rowdy kid who couldn't calm down, what did you do? You took them to the doctor and they gave them some pills, and then they made them, take lithium or something and make them calm down, and totally nullify them. Or you make them go outside and do sports and be out of my hair. But in this case, this is sort of like the portable Barney or a Teletubbies or whatever, the TV, where literally you can give them a $7 overpriced toy where they can sit there and be happy and shut the hell up.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm not a parent, but I'm sure there's plenty of parents that are like, oh, this is a saving grace, these little things. Have you seen the Clicky Cube? The fidget cube?
Yeah. One of the people at the other office has one of those. I was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, but I think it also is revealing of the people that really have a problem. And this is satisfying their internal needs that they normally cover up by, looking normal.
Well, something that a colleague of mine told me, he used to smoke, and he had like a fidget thingy that he got when he stopped smoking, when he got into the army. So that was an interesting, perspective. Yeah. People that have like a addiction problem, they can get one of these and just
right. Or
spend that on their.
They need stimulus all the time, and so where you see people hide this, including myself to some degree. I have varying degrees of it. You listen to music, you listen to podcasts. You have to have something that's constantly running in the background so that you can drain off and then focus, right? It's like a focusing activity. So things like this help. Where I used to see people really fidget is they do the thing with their knee and their foot, or they would tap, or they do this at work, or they would screw around with a pen, or clicky click 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 click, and then they go out and they smoke, and then they come back and they calm down. So this is kind of, this is surprisingly a toy like this, even though the satisfying fidget cube makes noise. Okay, so that would be really annoying if someone's sitting there doing that all day.
The cheap ones, the one from eBay, they make noise, but the
original
real
Kickstarter
good ones,
doesn't. The $20-$30.
Well, you can make one yourself that doesn't make sound.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, there was. I thought it was a Kickstarter, right?
Yeah, there was a Kickstarter, and then some
everyone made a knockoff.
Thousands of knockoffs.
Yeah. Well, then that's good. I don't know. There used to be squeeze toys, right? People who have stress issues, that kind of thing. I don't know. I mean, I totally get why people are satisfied by it. Certainly I am. I bought one. Not that, I just want to play with one. I spent like $20. I can wait a month. That was it. That was about the extent of my needing to buy one.
Well, yeah.
I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything about them until Giaco, right? That guy, because I can. That guy.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about them until, and his video was, I don't know, had been a couple months ago. So, and now you can just 3D print them. That's what everyone else is doing.
I know. I've been doing it. Yeah. Anyway, you can also measure how fast you can get them to spin.
Yeah.
Some people use compressed air to get them at very high RPMs. Polymatic.media/5Q. The guy uses I think it was a guy, uses a laser and an Arduino to measure the rotation.
And a laser pointer.
And a laser pointer. Yeah, that's what I said. A laser.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I was watching that. That's pretty good RPM. The question is, how long can you sustain that?
And also there's the problem of actually measuring it, because if there is not enough light that get passed through for the Arduino to notice it, you have to remember the Arduino goes at about 8 kilohertz. So that's about 8,000 cycles per minute per second.
Yeah.
So can you actually measure
beyond that?
Beyond that amount of RPMs.
Yeah, I guess so. You'd have to have something faster. There's no reason you couldn't do that with a PC, right? Even a low end PC, you could probably figure out a way to do it.
Then you run into different types of problems, but Anyway, for this, it was pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
Polymatic link /5Q.
Okay, cool. So Star Trek Discovery is supposed to be coming. The license holder for Star Trek, surprisingly, is CBS, which is a network, TV network. I don't know if it was the original TV network here in the U.S. I always was under some belief it was NBC, but I must be wrong.
Paramount, right?
Well, Paramount is the one usually has the movie franchise, but CBS has the actual original TV. They have the licensing for it. So if you want to watch anything Star Trek from a TV perspective, if it shows up anywhere like Netflix, it's because CBS sold that licensing to Netflix and stuff like that. So anyhow, they're creating a new TV series. I guess this is the trailer for it, Polymatic.link /5X. And the only thing that kind of annoys the hell out of me about this is two things. One, they had built the hype for it was going to happen this year. I got CBS access, and I paid for it for a few months, and I was like, okay, I'm good to go. Whenever it's going to show up. When's it going to show up, guys? Oh, well, it's March. You're supposed to be here by March. It's not here. Okay, so now it's May. Okay, it's not
December.
It's now. What's going on? And now they're like end of the year. So I went and I canceled it, which is a story in itself. I go online and there's no cancel button. There's a ticket from the highest level. You can downgrade it or you can upgrade it. You can't cancel it. So I had to go and send them a nasty gram and saying, you Star Trek Discovery, where is it? Please cancel my account. Well, do you want to... And it was a conversation, and then they just canceled it. And so it was fine, and it got done very quickly, and I was surprised about that, and it was good.
But you get to watch Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, but I can do that through YouTube TV. And so when I went to CBS Access and I went looking for Big Bang Theory, wasn't there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they say all access.
Either way,
but it wasn't
trailer,
all access. So
I can't watch it because it's region locked.
However, when it's past its prime, it'll show up in places like Netflix. I'm sure you'll get it internationally.
Yeah, but they blocked the whole trailer. It's going to be on Netflix.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but they blocked the trailer.
All right, I'll find a way for you to see it.
No, I've already seen it.
Oh, okay.
Of course I've already seen it. Man.
So Polymatic.link /5X. But the real sort of jerky thing here is you only be able to watch it through CBS All Access.
Yeah, and it's going to be, at the same time, it's going to be on Netflix and the rest of the world.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Then I will just watch it on Netflix.
No, not in the U.S.
Not in the U.S. That's a jerk thing. Well, my point is that I canceled my thing until I'm ready to watch it. And when it's available, then I will get CBS Access and I will watch it. And then I will determine if I'm going to continue to watch it and continue to keep CBS Access.
Well, you can just watch the first two episodes. They're going to be on CBS. And then you can just switch over to, if you want to continue watching it, to the app thing.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll find out. We'll see.
Well, that's what they said.
That's what they said. But they also said that they would have had, about half a year worth of shows by now in May. So truth and factor, I don't know. But they said they wanted to get it right, so we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. But that was Polymatic.link /5X. If you can watch it in your country.
Have you seen Alien Covenant yet?
I did not. No.
Are you going to?
The Alien franchise is not something I'm that interested in. I've seen most of the movies. Yeah. The last couple I've not cared to see. And according to most of my friends who really love Alien or Aliens, whichever variation you want to choose, gift versus GIF, their perspective is the last movies didn't exist.
It's got like a Star Wars 1, 2, and 3, right? What movies are those? Never heard of them before.
What were you talking about? What chapters?
Yeah. So Rick and Morty did a promo for Rick and Morty is a cartoon show. It's actually very funny, but very not safe for work.
Yeah, no.
Rick and Morty Alien Covenant. Polymatic.link /5R. I liked it a lot.
Did you see the movie? Is it out yet?
It's out here, I think, so I might at some point go watch it. I did see Prometheus. I did see it in the theater, so I might go see this one.
What'd you think of Prometheus?
It was okay. It was not great, and I'm an atheist, and getting the whole they're gods, they're progenitors, blah blah.
Yeah. I think the last one I saw, and I think I did see in the theater, was the one with Winona Ryder as the not the android, but the symbiont or whatever they were calling them. Remember that one?
Oh, that one with the guy from CSI.
Was it? I don't know.
Yeah, and the guy in the wheelchair. Yeah. I know. I completely understand. This is the one where Ripley is like a clone or something, right?
Yeah, that's
that
exactly it. Yeah.
I think it was called Alien 4 or something like that.
So the only one that was of interest to me, I think that wasn't Aliens. It was Aliens 2. I don't think it was the Winona Ryder one. There was a director who predominantly did music videos, David Fincher. He's gone on to do other things since then. But this was one of those movies where he did one of the Alien movies along the franchise, and watching his sort of directorial style had more appeal to me than the actual movie itself. And he's got very Citizen Kane. I can't think of the guy who wrote Citizen Kane. It's hurting my head. I know people are getting mad at me because they know who I'm talking about and they're shouting. Whatever the case is, he has that kind of style where the framing and all of the sort of film directorial stuff is more important to me than the actual movie. And so the Fincher movie was probably the last one that appealed to me. But to me, I don't know, it's not a franchise I have much interest in.
But it's all hooked up, right? So it's all linked up to like Blade Runner, and it was linked up to another one, Predator. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that they're all in the same universe.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah. So you have Alien versus Predator, and you got there's references to like Blade Runner stuff.
Was that actually legitimate, or is that with just movie companies going ka-ching, ka-ching?
I don't know.
Because that was one of those first.
I did
cases.
see the movies, but I
really don't know the original origins or the book or the universe. So, like in Marvel, it's obvious that they're all in the same universe, even though you never really see these characters together.
Well, if you're talking about universes, the Expanse and the Martian are in the same universe.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Huh. There is a reference to the Mark Watney in like one of the books, in one of the later books. Yeah, like the Mark Watney as a ship.
Huh.
Yeah, out of Mars.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even know that. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right.
The authors even confirmed that. Yeah.
So moving along. So someone who was trending this last week on YouTube, or at least trending for me, where it showed up in the algorithm for me, was this girl who's sort of a vlogger. And she used to work at BuzzFeed. And she does not anymore. And this is just, I chose this video because it was trending, it's popular, and it kind of shows off how good her videos can be. Polymatic.link/5W. I watched her most of her, but more of her videos. This is more of, I think, a channel to check out, watch some of her other videos, and see if you like them. And I would go from recent ones down the line and discover whether this is someone you want to subscribe to. It's a combination of vlog and entertainment.
I watched this, and I had no idea who she is. And
I didn't either.
I still don't. So I'm not kind of somebody who follows the BuzzFeed thing, so...
Yeah, but don't let the BuzzFeed thing ruin you. Did you watch any of her other videos?
No, but I'd never seen her before and never seen anything from BuzzFeed before, so I totally not follow that part of the internet.
Yeah, you know what? Don't care about the BuzzFeed part of it. In fact, totally ignore it. Just watch the video as is, and if you like the video and you can assess something, okay, that was kind of cool. watch some of her other videos. They're not all like this. This is probably the best that she's done. But there was like that trend for the unicorn frappuccino at Starbucks and a whole bunch of other ones. And so this is a person who doesn't drink coffee who's trying this thing. And so I saw some humor in her. And then I watched some of her other videos, like the her doing the very LA things, like acupuncture or the steaming your downstairs, the salt bath.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know. I was amused by them. I thought, all right, I'm going to watch her. We'll see if I keep her in the list of subscriptions. But anyhow, Polymatic.link/5W. If you find this entertaining at all, watch some of her other videos. That's my recommendation.
So I follow some people on YouTube because of a series they did called Trollcraft that ended recently.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the guys from there did a video where he bought $1,000 worth of fidget spinners on Amazon.
Yeah.
It's just interesting to see how his mind works going to buying several hundred of those things. So I think he ordered like a stack of them from one of the things that were like $200 for like a stack. So Polymatic.link/5Y.
Yeah, I ask why, but I also looked at the guy and I go, okay, I don't really know who this is. Okay, he's got 8 million subscribers. Okay, so he must do something, and I didn't like go through and dig
It's
through the rest of
Minecraft,
his videos.
lots of Minecraft stuff.
Right,
He's like
I
one of the
understand.
people that did Trollcraft.
Right.
Trollcraft's actually pretty funny series.
Yeah.
You should go check it out.
It
If you
brought
want
up a
to.
conversation from us before. Moving along. So this is another discovery that I made. I don't know. Last time we had a show, Andrew Hong, I want to say. So I chose one of the more nerdy versions of his videos, Polymatic.link/5U. I'm calling it nursery rhymes. But this is a guy who's kind of capable. He's got a reasonably good voice. And he just makes music. So he'll do anything from 500-word rap in a minute, or I'm going to take random things off of YouTube with low video count views, and I'll make a song out of it in 1 hour. And he goes through sort of video process. In this case, he was dissecting sort of a nursery rhyme and a Chainsmokers song. And this is sort of a more nerdy look into what the guy's capable of, or sort of the randomness that he does in his videos. But I would check out and discover some of his more recent ones. And then in my case, because I subscribe to him, I get sort of that discovery on my home page for YouTube. It lets me look at other videos. So I found a bunch that I think are worth sharing, but I'm going to start with this. If at this level of detail doesn't interest you at all, like the construction of or deconstruction of music and sort of the musical side of it, the nerdiness from this perspective, go just search around and look at his other videos. This is more of like a channel recommendation versus just an individual recommendation for a video. Polymatic.link/5U.
And if you haven't fallen asleep from that yet, there is Mario's Word of the Week, Soporific.
Yeah, they're doing this stuff again.
Yeah, I really, really love this stuff.
Yeah.
Glove and Boots is back, which is great. Finally, some new videos. They even have like a gaming channel now.
Yeah, have you watched any of that stuff? I haven't really.
I saw the highlights of Mass Effect, and I totally agree with everything in there.
I guess I just don't really watch Let's Plays, right? So
no, but this is more like they make fun of the game. So
right, yeah.
Anyway, Polymatic.link/5Z.
Yeah, Glove and Boots are great. I wish they did more like their blogs, because those are like packaged up. Yeah.
Yeah, but they take a very long time to produce, right?
Yeah, that's true. These are funny. Grit and salt funny. Did it make you want a Mario pillow?
It made me want to go sleep.
Yeah. Bob Ross. Never ends. Oh, that was Polymatic.link/5Z. Last, this is also sort of, I don't know if it's really a channel recommendation. I saw another video by this guy previously, but this was also trending recently. History of the World, Polymatic.link/5S as in Sam. It's like 20 minutes. It's so, I don't know how to explain it. It's strange and entertaining all at the same time. The one that I watched previously, this is how I discovered who this guy was, like last year, was like the history of Japan. So yeah, so I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. They're kind of long. They're kind of weird.
Yeah, they're
Did you
definitely
watch
weird.
it?
Yeah, I
Did you
saw
watch
it
it?
like a week ago, I think.
Yeah, it was trending maybe then?
Yeah, people on Twitter were sharing it, so I was like, "Go watch." They were like, "Go watch this." Okay, I'll go watch
Yeah,
it.
so it's a little weird for me because sometimes I already have that person subscribed on my list, so it's trending somewhere for me to see. But then also, then I hear it's trending, and I go, "Oh yeah, I subscribe to that guy. Yeah, I saw that other video of him. That's pretty good, and following him, that kind of thing." So it's weird sometimes. I don't know if it's actually trending or if it's trending because the algorithm said it's trending for
It's in
you,
your
Alan.
bubble.
Yeah, in the bubble. So, yeah, the algorithm bubble. The
And the
alga
link for that
bubble.
was
Oh, that was polymatic.link. 5S, as in Sam.
okay.
All right.
Well, we've got another John's Book Corner. I
Uh,
don't have
you need
affiliate
some
link
music
yet.
for it.
Yeah.
You need a little.
Get a soundboard.
Yeah.
um,
John's
I,
book cover. Corner. Sorry. You need little kids screaming that.
okay. Well, I could probably change the pitch on your voice.
No, that's fine. John's book corner. Just dupe that over 10 times. Put some reverb on it. You'll torture everybody. Don't do that.
Okay. Anyway, I've read a couple of books.
Yeah.
I listened to a couple of books. Expeditionary Force. It's another one of those that have been being promoted to me by the great and powerful Amazon search thing,
Suggestion
recommendation engine.
Recommendation bubble.
Yeah. This is about a guy in the middle of nowhere in the U.S. who is like he just came back from like a tour in Nigeria, and aliens invade, and that leads from one thing to another where the humans are fighting on the wrong side of the war, and I don't want to spoil too much, but it's about halfway through the first book. The first part is like mostly military sci-fi, which is fine, which is great, and there's lots of fun stuff in there. Like, for example, when when the aliens invade, he takes on the aliens. So, and to get some of the aliens, they get a truck, an ice cream truck, which is with a giant Barney on the front of it, and Barney the dinosaur.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so that travels along with him. Not the truck, but the fact that he took on the aliens with a Barney that travels along. So he's being called Barney, the Barney guy. And whenever he eventually gets promoted, and then he gets a car.
Yeah.
And the aliens they kind of look like hamsters, so they call them hamsters. And they have like trucks, and they're called Hamvees. They call them Hamvees. It's all pretty funny. And then there's a giant. They couldn't take too much with them to take to another planet, but one of the things that came along was a giant stuffed Barney, and they put it in front of his truck, which is awesome. But halfway through the book, the whole story changes. It goes from being like semi-funny military sci-fi to more of a how can I say this? They meet somebody or something, and something that keeps calling us hairless monkeys and stupid and other things. I'll say it. It's an AI that they found, ancient alien AI, and that goes through book 1 and book 2, and they have to go take on other aliens and stuff. And it's very entertaining book, and book 3 is going to come out tomorrow by the time this releases. So you can find the books at Polymatic links like 61, 62, and 60.
And 60. Okay.
And 60 is the third book, so I kind of, messed that up a bit.
Yeah. Oh, well, not a big deal.
I did buy some googly eyes yesterday.
Yeah, what is up with that? You said 200 googly eyes?
No, 2,000.
2,000?
I was going to buy 10,000.
What? Okay, what are you doing with these googly eyes? These are the little things that they put on little puff
But Alan,
balls.
I
and
huff
put
them.
little-
Oh, wait.
Huh?
I huff them. Oh, no, wait.
Because when you think, I think googly eyes. I think the little when they have little marketing swag at like these computer trade shows or whatever, they would buy like 100 of these or 1,000 of these little puff balls on these little sticky feet.
Yeah, I know.
And put googly eyes
those
on
type
them.
of googly eyes. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a thing going on where people are putting googly eyes on all sorts of devices and things like broken lampposts, cars, police cars, microphones, or a washing machine where they just put the eyes on top of the washing machine. It's like two eyes and a giant O face.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my plan was to remember how I did the Pokemon Go thing.
Yeah.
So my idea is to go all over the city and just paste those things everywhere. Just go all over the place. And actually, it's a thing that's been going on, I think, in Sweden. There's one guy that's been doing that. And some people, I think it was Bonnie Burton and the wife of Will Wheaton. I think they've been doing something called Vandalize with Vandal Eyes. So putting those things on everything.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a good idea. I think it's with the state of the world right now.
Yeah.
It's some fun must be had. So I bought for like $40 worth of googly eyes. And I'm gonna paste them everywhere.
I don't. I mean, those things are easy to remove, anyways, right? So,
they're self-adhesive.
Did you ever see those on the site Instructables where people were buying the rare earth magnets and putting little pieces of tape and putting little LEDs that were constantly on with the batteries? But and those things aren't really destructive. But the thing is, when you toss it up 100 feet above you and it sticks to the side of a building, that's kind of hard to remove unless you can get up there and remove all the things.
It's even more funny if you put it in some sort of pattern.
Well, I know for the longest time, like, I had thought about constructing a bunch of these things, but then I don't live anywhere where it makes any sense. You know what I mean? It would just be like, oh man, LEDs are getting so cheap now. You can totally, build little stupid things like this. I don't know. It seems like kind of.
I have everything here that I can do this with. Everything. I have everything in the house to do this, but I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's not destructible. I mean, it's destructible, meaning it's easy to like remove the googly eyes. I don't think it's that bad of a deal. So hopefully no one gets in serious trouble.
Anyway, I hope I don't get arrested for this, but who cares? So I guess that's it for this week, right?
I guess so.
Do you have anything else?
No. I am on multiple Mastodons, though I'm really sticking to the primary one that I started with. So that's it. Maybe in a couple of weeks I will have a fidgety spinner, and maybe I still probably won't have. Maybe I will have bought the new laptop, but won't have it yet.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be building a LED. Have you seen those LED bars where they have like lots of LEDs on the side, the big ones, and they have like a controller where you can see the number of YouTube subscribers and stuff?
Yeah, I've seen that. What is it? It's like it's $500 or $400 LED.
I'm going to buy one for under €80.
Okay.
I'm going to build one.
Yeah, makes sense. I don't have 1 million subscribers that I need to watch my subscriber count go up. Like I don't.
No, but it's not just for that, but you can use it for other stuff, like for example,
the weather or a clock for $400.
Yeah, but I'm gonna build one for under 100. So.
Right, I got that. I understand. So I mean, like for me, from the outset, I'm like, why would I spend that money? I can just pick up my cell phone and look.
Anyway, so that's gonna happen in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I hope, when everything arrives. Where can they find you, Alan?
You can find me on Twitter at CHAESS. It's my last name.
And on Polymatic.social, where you can find all our links as well.
Yep.
Right. We'll have to add your new .social.
The Mastodon.
Mastodon.social on there.
Yeah. It's CHAESECO at mastodon.cloud or mastodon.social because they finally opened up the primary node again. So I went over there to check out what was going on over there. And then I decided promptly that Mastodon.cloud is cooler.
You can find me at twitter.com/webdevy or webdevy at mastodon.cloud. For feedback, you can reach us at podcast@polymatic.media. Our Twitter is @thepolymatic. Our website is polymatic.media, and I hope you tune in next time.
The music in this episode was by Say Uns. It was licensed under Creative Commons Attribution and found on the Free Music Archive. You can find these tracks at shorter.com/BRK.